Hi everyone, so in this video we'll talk about housing loan or home loan. So we'll talk about the different types of home loan, options to finance your property purchase, how much can you borrow based on income, selling price, and how the banks are assessing your home loan application, and lastly, what are the things that you need to consider before getting a home loan. All right? First, let's define what home loan is. So, home loan is a financing facility offered by financial institution to provide funds for purchase of real estate property. So, how it works, normally the seller or the developer would ask you to put in an equity or a down payment. Normally, it would range from 5% to 30% depende dun sa arrangement ninyo ng seller. And then, yung remaining balance, yun yung i-apply mo for home loan. Okay? So, for example, you're buying a property that is worth 5 million pesos. Okay? And the seller would ask you to put in 20% down payment. And that is equivalent to 1 million pesos. Yung remaining 4 million pesos, yun yung i-apply for home loan. So, there are different types of home loan depending on the purpose. Can either be for home purchase, home construction, home improvement or renovation, home equity takeout for fully paid properties, or refinancing of your existing home loan. Okay? So, depende dun sa purpose, nagva-vary yung terms, loanable amount, and sometimes even yung interest rate. Now, let's talk about the financing options. So, yung first one is bank financing. So, yung bank financing, most of the banks in the Philippines would offer home loan financing. So, yung turnaround time nila, sila yung pinakamabilis na nagbibigay ng approval. Normally, 3 to 5 days, meron ka na agad approval. But, they require stricter requirements. Okay? So, kung hindi ka makakapag-provide ng requirements nila, mahihirapan kang makakuha ng home loan sa bangko. So in terms of terms, they could provide 20 to 25 year length of repayment as long as hindi mag-exceed sa 65 years old yung borrower upon loan maturity. So in terms of interest rate, normally it is based on the lending rate ng bangko. So yung mga bangko, iba't iba yung lending rate nila, doon nila binibase yung interest rate na charge nila doon sa housing loan. Second is yung Pag-ibig housing loan. So yung Pag-ibig housing loan naman is offered to Pag-ibig members, can either be employed, self-employed, or OFW as long as nakabayad ka ng, I think, 24 months payment dun sa Pag-ibig contribution mo, then they can extend yung Pag-ibig housing loan. Alright? In terms of processing time, normally it would take 2 to 5 months depende dun sa complexity ng requirement, dun sa submission mo, dun nagva-vary yung length of processing time. In terms of terms, they could provide up to 30 years as long as hindi mag-exceed ng 70 years old yung borrower upon loan maturity. So, mas matagal yung repayment period mo with Pag-ibig housing loan. In terms of interest rate, so sila yung pinakamababang mag-charge because this is a government-owned agency. Ito yung way ng government to help the population to purchase yung dream home nila. The third one is in-house financing. So, yung in-house financing, basically, ito na yung last resort ng mga borrower. Kung hindi sila ma-approve sa bank loan and sa Pag-ibig housing loan, pwede silang mag-avail ng in-house financing. So, ano ba yung in-house financing? Some developers would offer in-house financing as a last resort. Okay? So, yung terms na ino-offer nila is 5, sometimes 7 or 10 years lang. So, mas maikli. And yung interest rate na charge nila is mas mataas. Why? Because the developers or the sellers are not in the business of lending. That's why if they're gonna offer financing option dun sa borrower or dun sa customers, mas maikli yung repayment period and mas mataas yung interest na charge nila. Now, the question is, how much can you borrow? So, yung loanable amount can either be based on the property value or yung total income presented. So, number one, property value. They can either base it in the selling price or the appraised value. Alright? Second is yung total income presented. So, yung mga bank or yung mga financial institution, they would use a credit ratio na inaalaw lang nila to be allocated for amortization payment. So, most of the banks would use 30 to 35% of your monthly income, and then from there, yun lang yung pwede nilang i-allow for allocation dun sa amortization payment dun sa housing loan mo. For example, you're earning 100,000 pesos. So they could only allow 30,000 to 35,000 to be allocated dun sa amortization payment mo. So the higher the income, the higher the percentage din na inaalaw nila. Alright? So yung 30 to 35,000 monthly amortization would allow siguro mga 4 to 4.5 million loanable amount based on a 20-year term. Now, how do they check your eligibility? Number one is credit history. So, ano ba yung credit history? So, kailangan wala kang mga delinquent credit cards, delinquent accounts na hindi mo nababayaran religiously. Makikita kasi nila yun sa CMAP or yung tinatawag natin na negative findings report. Okay? So, kung meron kang history ng non-payment dun sa credit cards, sa mga previous loans mo, somehow tinitake nila yun as a red flag. Second is yung income. So, income should be combined if you're married. You just have to present certificate of employment, payslip, ITR, bank statement if you're employed. If you're self-employed, you just have to provide yung business documents, bank statements, cash receipts. From there, i-assess nila yung stability ng cash flow. Third is yung age. Okay? So for most of the banks, they would allow a maximum of up to 65 years old upon loan maturity. And for pag-ibig naman, inaalaw nila up to 70 years old. Fourth is yung number of dependents. The expectation is that the higher the number of dependents, the lower yung dispensable income na pwedeng i-assign for amortization payment. And last is yung stability of occupation. So if you're employed, kailangan makita kung gaano kang katagal nag-works dun sa company, 2, 3 years. Kung lumilipat ka ng company, are you moving to the same industry or are you getting promoted? Tumataas ba yung income mo? And if you're doing business, kailangan stable yung cash flow, makikita dun sa bank statement mo. Normally, they would ask you to submit 6 to 12 months of bank statement and then ina-annualize nila yung cash flow, makikita kung stable yung movement. Alright? Now, what are the things that you need to consider before getting a housing loan? So, number one is which financing facility to go or apply with. Okay? Can either be bank financing, pag-ibig housing loan, or in-house financing. So, nag-vary yung term, yung interest rate, gano'ng katagal yung processing time, kung alin yung pipiliin mo dun sa tatlo. Second is yung monthly payment. How much can you really afford to pay on a monthly basis consistently? Okay? Kasi hindi siya one time na okay, for the next 2 months, kaya ko magbayad ng ganito, and then after noon, kailangan mas mababa. Kailangan consistent yung payment mo and align siya dun sa budget mo. Third is yung down payment. So, yung sellers, yung developers, iba-iba yung requirement nila when it comes to down payment, but you have to remember, the higher down payment, the lower the loanable amount. So what that means is kung mas marami yung equity payment mo, mas onti lang yung kailangan mong hiramin sa bangko, mas onti lang yung kailangan mong bayaran in the future. Fourth one is yung loan tenure or yung repayment period. The longer the term, the lower the monthly amortization payment, but the higher the accumulated interest payment in the long run. Inversely, the lower the term, the higher the monthly payment, pero the lower naman yung accumulated interest payment dun sa home loan mo. And that's it for this video. I hope nakatulong tong video na to if you're planning to apply for a housing loan. If nagustuhan nyo tong video na to, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if meron kayong question about property investment and housing loans, comment down below and maybe we could answer in the future. Thank you everyone for watching and I'll see you guys again. Bye-bye!